All right, hello. So I am recording on my phone, and hopefully, I do believe that it will not cut out. I put my do not disturb. I actually changed the settings now so that um, it should, in fact, not disrupt the video. No one should be able to contact me, so that's a good thing. I am in Tampa, Florida, on the west side of Florida, for the first time. It's amazing. I got to hang out with Alexandra Martin, my CCU buddy, and got to meet her friends and brothers and sisters in the Lord. And man, we're doing life together. We are doing life. We got a nice workout this morning. Man, it's really good. I definitely need this fellowship. Even like my previous videos I was saying, so this was much needed. Praise the Lord. He hears your prayers. He heard my prayer, and I'm glad I'm here. And things are looking up. You know, who knows what's going to happen with all this. So praise God. So to start, I just finished my video of Pastor Gino Jennings, returning back to God. My 30-minute at least video of pastor / teacher. The scriptures he gave, which, you know, if I write scripture down and he quotes it, I'm gonna write it down, and that's what I want to learn. I want to learn more scripture. I want to know more depth of the scriptures, right? So James 4:4, you adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God. That's huge. James, the book of James is like such a great book that I like. That right there is huge. And it just makes me think like, man, well, I get a friendship, you know, like if you're partaking with what the world does, because we are called to be lights in the world, right? Be a light in the world. So we can still be that in the world and in our workplaces with doing our best, trying to not be friends with the, you know, the sin or, you know, just things that are contrary to scripture. And he gave Luke 14:26, which I was just thinking about this before he mentioned it. I was like, wow. If anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And it's like, wow, that's a strong verse, right? That's powerful. And you think, well, why would Jesus say that? Well, I can see there's a lot of loyalty in family, right? And you know, you gotta always accept what your parents do, or vice versa. The parents always gotta accept what their sons and daughters do, right? Everything, it doesn't matter. But when you get older, you can't contradict. You can't be a hypocrite. Your parents are sinning, vice versa. You know, you gotta let that go. You know, you can't be friends with the world, right? So that's that. I'm at a park right now, a beautiful park. So in my car, thankful that the Lord blessed me to come here because my car needs some fixing. So we left off, I believe, I'm finishing chapter 23 in the book of Proverbs, reading out the NIV translation. So let's go. We're going to start. All right. Chapter 24, saying 20, verse 1. Do not envy the wicked. Do not desire their company. For their hearts plot violence, and their lips talk about making trouble. Saying 21. By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. Saying 22, verse 5. The wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength. Surely you need guidance to wage war, and victory is won through many advisors. Saying 23, verse 7. Wisdom is too high for fools. In the assembly at the gate they must not open their mouths. Saying 24, verse 8. Whoever plots evil will be known as a schemer. The schemes of folly are sin, and people detest a mocker. Saying 25, verse 10. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? Rescue those being led away to death. Hold back those staggering toward slaughter. If you say, but we knew nothing about this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he not repay everyone according to what they have done? Wow. Saying 26. Man, the book of Proverbs just smacks you, man. It's just, you're in a fight and you're the one getting smacked. Saying 26, verse 13. Eat honey, my son, for it is good. Honey from the comb is sweet to your taste. Know also that wisdom is like honey for you. If you find it, there is a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. Saying 27, verse 15. Do not lurk like a thief near the house of the righteous. Do not plunder their dwelling place. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. So, man, in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned this because I had fallen, and I fell on this scripture, brought me back to life. Saying 28, verse 17, do not gloat when your enemy falls. When they stumble, do not let your heart rejoice, or the Lord will see and disapprove and turn his wrath away from them. Saying 29, do not fret because of evildoers, or be envious of the wicked, for the evildoer has no future hope, and the lamp of the wicked will be snuffed out. Saying 30, verse 21, fear the Lord and the king, my son, and do not join with rebellious officials, for those two will send sudden destruction on them, and who knows what calamities they can bring. Further sayings of the wise, verse 23, these are the sayings of the wise. I gotta keep an eye on this video just in case, if it doesn't cut off. To show partiality in judging is not good. Whoever says to the guilty, you are innocent, will be cursed by peoples and denounced by nations. Verse 25. But it will go well with those who convict the guilty, and rich blessing will come on them. An honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. Mwah. Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house. Do not testify against your neighbor without cause. Would you use your lips to mislead? Do not say, I'll do to them as they have done to me. I'll pay them back for what they did. Verse 30, I went past the field of a sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who has no sense. Thorns had come up everywhere, and ground was covered with weeds, and the stone wall was in ruins. Verse 32, I applied my heart to what I observed and learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. More Proverbs of Solomon. Oh, that completes chapter 24. Chapter 25, more Proverbs of Solomon, verse 1. These are more Proverbs of Solomon, compiled by the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. As the heavens are high and the earth is deep, so the hearts of kings are unsearchable. Remove the cross from the silver, and a silversmith can produce a vessel. Verse 5, remove wicked officials from the king's presence, and a stone will be established through righteousness. Do not exalt yourself in the king's presence, and do not claim a place among his great men. It is better for him to say to you, come up here, than for him to humiliate you before his nobles. What you have seen with your eyes, do not bring hastily to court. For what will you do in the end if your neighbor puts you to shame? If you take your neighbor to court, do not betray another's confidence. Wow. Verse 10. Or the one who hears it may shame you, and the charge against you will stand. Like apples of gold and settings of silver is a ruling rightly given. Like an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold is the rebuke of a wise judge to a listening ear. Like a snow-cold drink at harvest time is a trustworthy messenger to the one who sends him. He refreshes the spirit of his master. Like clouds and wind without rain is one who boasts of gifts never given. Verse 15. Through patience a ruler can be persuaded, and a gentle tongue can break a bone. If you find honey, eat just enough. Too much of it, and you will vomit. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house. Too much of you, and they will hate you. Like a club or a sword or a sharp arrow is one who gives false testimony against a neighbor. Like a broken tooth or a lame foot is reliance on the unfaithful in a time of trouble. Verse 20, like one who takes away a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar poured on a wound, is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Like a north wind that brings unexpected rain is a sly tongue which provokes a horrified lip. Better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Verse 25, like cold water to a weary soul is good news from a distant land. Like a muddied spring or a polluted well are the righteous who give way to the wicked. It is not good to eat too much honey, nor is it honorable to search out matters that are too deep. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. And that completes chapter 25. Chapter 26, verse 1. Like snow in harvest or rain in harvest, like snow in summer or rain in harvest, honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse does not come to rest. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the backs of fools. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will be just like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. Verse 6. Sending a message by the hands of a fool is like cutting off one's feet or drinking poison. Like the useless legs of one who is lame is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. Like tying a stone in a sling is the giving of honor to a fool. Like a thorn bush in a drunkard's hand is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. Verse 10, like an archer who wounds at random is one who hires a fool or any passerby. As a dog returns to his vomit, so fools repeat their folly. Do you see a person wise in their own eyes? There's more hope for a fool than for him, or for them. A sluggard says, there's a lion in the road, a fierce lion roaming the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so a sluggard turns on his bed. Verse 15, a sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He's too lazy to bring it back to his mouth. A sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 people who answer discreetly. Like one who grabs a stray dog by the ears is someone who rushes into a quarrel not their own. Like a maniac shooting flaming arrows of death is one who deceives their neighbor and says, I was only joking. Verse 20, without food or without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. I actually get a little tired. I had some Puerto Rican food, and it's starting to hit me. It's starting to hit me. Oh. Verse 21. As charcoal to embers and as wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome person for kindling strife. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts. See, like I was in the book of James, it talks about taming the tongue, and that no man can tame the tongue, right? And it's like, I want to check myself in what I say. Am I complaining in the things? Am I not giving thanks, Both fresh water and dirty water can't flow from the same spring. So I really want my mouth to be full of life and not death, and flowing fresh water and not dirty water. And I'm going to try that. I'm going to get better at that today. I'm going to watch what I say. What is that famous saying our mothers have told us, or at least my mother did? If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Just give it to God. Give it to God. God, I'm feeling this way, God. Verse 23, like a coating of silver draws on earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. Enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. Verse 25, though their speech is charming, do not believe them, for 7 abominations fill their hearts. Wow. And we're going to look back at that, actually. Their malice may be concealed by deception, but their wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. A lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. That completes chapter 26. So earlier in the book of Proverbs, we got to the abominations. So let's find that out. I think a lying tongue was one of them. Actually, I know it was. What chapter was it in? Okay. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. I'm getting checked. All right, chapter 27. I can feel like I'm all crooked and stuff. Don't want to hit it. Accidentally press the record button and it turns off my video. I'm gonna be like, no. Chapter 27, verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. How true is that? And I'm still crooked. Like I'm leaning. Come on, man. Is that better? Beautiful bird. Wow. If I could flip the camera, I would show you. I really like this right here. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Verse 2. Let someone else praise you and not your own mouth. An outsider and not your own lips. Stone is heavy and the sand is burdened, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Anger is cruel and fury overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy? Verse 5, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Man, I really like that. I feel like when I was in the Marine Corps, there was a lot of that, you know, which I think it's a good thing. I mean, the Bible says it is. What do you mean? Yeah, of course it is. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. One who is full loathes honey from the comb, but to the hungry even what is bitter tastes sweet. Like a bird that flees its nest is anyone who flees from home. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of a friend springs from their heartfelt advice. Heartfelt advice. Heartfelt advice. Do not forsake your friend or family, or a friend of your family. And do not go to your relative's house when disaster strikes you. Better a neighbor nearby than a relative far away. Verse 11, be wise, my son, and bring joy to my heart. I'm crooked. Looks bad on video. You know, I keep cutting out. Just trying to get a little comfortable. This is going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Be wise, my son, and bring joy to my heart, that I can answer anyone who treats me with contempt. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. Hold it in pledge if it is done for an outsider. If anyone loudly blesses their neighbor early in the morning, it will be taken as a curse. Verse 15, a quarrelsome wife is like the dripping of a leaky roof in a rainstorm. Restraining her is like restraining the wind, or grasping oil with the hand. Ooh, the infamous chapter 27, verse 17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Huge. Fellowship, right? The one who guards a fig tree will eat its fruit, and whoever protects their master will be honored. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Verse 20, death and destruction are never satisfied, and neither are human eyes. The crucible for silver and the furnace for gold. But people are tested by their praise. Though you grind a fool in a mortar, grinding them like grain with a pestle, you will not remove their folly from them. Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not endure forever, and a crown is not secure for all generations. Verse 25, when the hay is removed and new growth appears, and the grass from the hills is gathered in, the lambs will provide you with clothing, and the goats with the price of a field. You will have plenty of goat's milk to feed your family, and to nourish your female servants. That completes chapter 27. Chapter 28, verse 1. The wicked flee, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. When a country is rebellious, it has many rulers, but a ruler with discernment and knowledge maintains order. A ruler who oppresses the poor is like driving rain that leaves no crops. Those who forsake instruction praise the wicked, but those who heed it resist them. Verse 5. Evildoers do not understand what is right, but those who seek the Lord understand it fully. Better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. A discerning son heeds instruction, but a companion of gluttons disgraces his father. Whoever increases wealth by taking interest or profit from the poor amasses it for another. Who will be kind to the poor? If anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, even their prayers are detestable. I'm going to read that again, verse 9. If anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, their prayers are detestable. Verse 10, whoever leads the upright along an evil path will fall into their own trap, but the blameless will receive a good inheritance. The rich are wise in their own eyes. One who is poor and discerning sees how deluded they are. When the righteous triumph, there is great elation, but when the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding. Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Blessed is the one who always trembles before God, but whoever hardens their heart falls into trouble. Verse 15, like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler or a helpless people. A tyrannical ruler practices extortion, not exhortation, that's a gift. But one who hates ill-gotten gain will enjoy a long reign. Anyone tormented by the guilt of murder will seek refuge to the grave. Let no one hold them back. The one whose walk is blameless is kept safe, but the one whose ways are perverse will fall into the pit. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. Verse 20. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. To show partiality is not good, yet a person will do wrong for a piece of bread. The stingy are eager to get rich and are unaware that poverty awaits them. Whoever strikes a person will in the end gain favor. Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor, rather than one who has a flattering tongue. Whoever robs their father or mother and says it's not wrong is partner to one who destroys. Verse 25. The greedy stir up conflict, but those who trust in the Lord will prosper. Those who trust in themselves are fools, but those who walk in wisdom are kept safe. Verse 27. Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them will receive many curses. When the wicked rise to power, people go into hiding, but when the wicked perish, the righteous thrive. That concludes chapter 28. Man, I'm getting sleepy. Let me take a 10-second nap. Ready? Starting now. Okay. That was good. Kind of wants a bit longer. I can't be eating when I do these videos. I just can't. This has happened before. It just hits you, man. It just hits you. Plus, it's an afternoon. Plus, we worked out today. So it's like, you're going to feel something. Chapter 29, verse 1. Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but a company of prostitutes squanders his wealth. By justice, a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tear it down. Verse 5. Those who flatter their neighbors are spreading nets for their feet. Evildoers are snared by their own sin, but the righteous shout for joy and are glad. The righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern. Mockers stir up a city, but the wise turn away anger. If a wise person goes to court with the fool rages and scoffs, and there is no peace. The bloodthirsty hate a person of integrity and seek to kill the upright. Verse 11. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. If a ruler listens to lies, all his officials become corrupt. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives us strength. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. I'm sorry. I'm really like struggling. I was going to say halfway. I could probably do 1 hour because I need a nap. I'm literally passing out. Quick break. Oh, man. Verse 14, if a king judges the poor with fairness, his throne will be established forever. A rod and a reprimand impart wisdom, but a child left undisciplined disgraces its mother. When the wicked thrive, so does sin, but the righteous will see their downfall. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights you desired. So interesting. I'm sorry. Verse 17, discipline your children and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights you desire. Verse 18, where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint, but blessed is the one who heeds wisdom's instruction. Servants cannot be corrected by mere words. Though they understand, they will not respond. Verse 20, do you see someone who speaks in haste? There is more hope for a fool than for him. A servant pampered from youth will turn out to be insolent, and an angry person stirs up conflict, and a hot-tempered person commits sins. Pride brings a person low, but the lowly in spirit gain honor. Oof. The accomplices of thieves are their own enemies. They are put under oath and dare not testify. Verse 25, fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Many we seek an audience with the ruler, but it is from the Lord that one gets justice. The righteous detest the dishonest, the wicked detest the upright. And that completes chapter 29. I'm gonna have to like walk outside and do like freaking 5 air squats, man. This is man, falling asleep. I could try to do it in an hour. I've got 27 minutes left. Come on, push. I got chapter 30 and 31, and that ends the book of Proverbs. Read the book of Proverbs in 2 days. That's it took me a month to read the full book, because at CCU we did the day by day, chapter by chapter. Sayings of Agur, chapter 30, verse 1. The sayings of Agur, son of Jaketh, an inspired utterance. This man's utterance to Ithiel. I am weary, God, but I can prevail. Surely I am only a brute, not a man. I do not have human understanding. I have not learned wisdom, nor have I attained to the knowledge of the Holy One. Who has gone up to heaven and gone down? Whose hands have gathered up the wind? He has wrapped up the waters in a cloak. Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is the name surely you know? Verse 5. Everyone's word of God is flawless. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Verse 6, do not add to his words, or he will rebuke you and prove you a liar. Two things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Keep me neither poverty nor riches. Otherwise I may have too much and disown you, and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of God. Wow. Verse 10. Do not slander a servant to their pay for it. There are those who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers, those who are pure in their own eyes and yet are not cleansed of their filth, those whose eyes are ever so haughty, those whose teeth are swords. Man, looking like a fool on camera. Okay, verse 13. Those whose eyes are so haughty, those whose glances are so disdainful, those whose teeth are swords and whose jaws are set with knives, to devour the poor from the earth and the needy from among mankind. The leech has 2 daughters. Give, give, they cry. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 that never say enough. The grave, the barren womb, land which is never satisfied with water. And fire which never says enough. The eyes that mock a father, that scorns an aged mother, will be pecked out by the ravens of the valley, will be eaten by vultures. There are 3 amazing things that are too amazing for me, 4 that I do not understand: the way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship on high seas, and the way of a man with a young woman. Verse 20, this is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong. Under 3 things the earth trembles, under 4 it cannot bear up: a servant who becomes king, a godless fool who gets plenty to eat, a contemptible woman who gets married, and a servant who displaces her mistress. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. And ants are, verse 25, ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer. Verse 26, hyraxes are creatures of little power, yet they make their home in the crags. Locusts have no king, yet they advance together in ranks. A lizard can be caught with the hand, yet is found in king's palaces. There are 3 things that are stately in their strife, 4 that are with stately bearing a lion. Verse 30, a lion. A lion mighty among beasts who retreats before nothing, a strutting rooster, a he-goat, and a king secure against revolt. If you play the fool and exalt yourself, or if you plan evil, clap your hands over your mouth. For as churning cream produces butter, and as twisting the nose products of blood, so stirring up anger produces strife. That completes chapter 30. I'm going to open up this door. I'm going to do some 5 quick squats outside because I'm sorry. I keep falling asleep. I keep dozing off, trying to read. in my car, so let's see, we're gonna wake up. Get the blood flow going. All right. I just threw like a bunch of sunflower kernels for the squirrels. See if they come. All right. Let's get back at it, yeah? Feeling a little better? More awake. All right. Last chapter in the book of Proverbs, sayings of King Lemuel, verse 1. Oh, is this the Proverbs 31 woman? It is. All right. Verse 1. The sayings of King Lemuel, an inspired utterance his mother taught him. Listen, my son, listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son, the answer to my prayers. Do not spend your strength on women. Highlight. It's already highlighted. I'm going to star it. I needed to hear this. I needed to read this. Yes. Your vigor on those who ruin kings. Oh, there was a comma. Your vigor on those who ruin kings. It is not for kings, Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine. Not for rulers to crave beer. Verse 5. Lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty and remember the misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. Epilogue, the wife of noble character. This is like finding Bigfoot. I haven't seen one. All right. Verse 10. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. Verse 15. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. Yes, the next book. Verse 18, she sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. Verse 20, she opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household. Wow. A woman with no fear? For all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She's clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes a seat among the elders of the land. Yeah. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. Verse 25, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Verse 30, charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That's all in one verse. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is fleeting. Like, she'll be beautiful for a little bit, and then she's gonna get old. She's not gonna look the same. Some guy may look handsome right now, and they're gonna get old. They're not gonna look the same. That is, man. Oh, Book of Proverbs. Charm is deceit. I'll say it again, verse 30. Charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. And that completes the Book of Proverbs. That completes chapter 31. Oh my goodness. Talk about a fight. Talk about a knockout fight, man. This is... man, a lot of this really has hit me. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And what is next? All right, so we're 56 minutes in. Man, those squirrels are coming? I'm actually really surprised. The squirrels just chilling half on the trash can, half off of it. Like half on, half off. Looking at the bird. The Book of Ecclesiastes is next. And this is such a good book. Such a good book. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start. I gotta get this done. You know, it's still early. I'd rather do it now than later. I'm not gonna have the time later. I'm gonna be busy later. So I think I'm gonna go outside and do another 5 air squats, so that way I don't so let me go. Let me drink some water. In the book of Ecclesiastes, starting at chapter 2, verse 20. Pastor Gino Jennings has a man reading the Bible as he's giving the sermon. And I actually like that approach. I actually do. And some of the videos, they read off Ecclesiastes, which is actually a different book. It's not in the Bible. It's just, he sounds really good when he says it. It's like in the book of Ecclesiastes at chapter 10, starting at verse 20. He just does it so good. All right, here we go. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1. Everything is meaningless. Verse 1. The words of the teacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors, at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. Verse 5. The sun rises and the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear it's full of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Verse 10. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already, long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. Think about that. Wisdom is meaningless. Verse 12. I, the teacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Verse 15. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much of wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this, too, is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. That completes chapter 1. That's how it starts. Starts really good. Right? Starts really good. Uh-oh, here we go again. Here we go again. I just did 5 air squats. Come on. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Alright. Can't take a nap. Gotta finish this. Chapter 2. Pleasures are meaningless. Verse 1. I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly. My mind is still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of their lives. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. Verse 5. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem, as well the delights of a man's heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. Verse 10. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done, and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. Wisdom and folly are meaningless. Verse 12. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom, and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, while the fool walks in the darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Verse 15. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? I said to myself, this too is meaningless. For the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. The days have already come when both have been forgotten. Like the fool, the wise too must die. Man. Toil is meaningless. Verse 17. So I hated life because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether the person will be wise or foolish, yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. I always think about that with construction workers. People who built these roads, how long ago? For a man like me to drive on it, to read the word, in this place, in this little lot at the park. Like, I think about that. Like, the construction workers, like, do they realize how many people are gonna drive on this road? I think about that. Verse 20. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then they must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What do people get for all the toil and anxious striving with which they labor under the sun? All their days their work is grief and pain. Even at night their minds do not rest. This too is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. Look at this girl. Okay, he's right here. Oh no, he jumped off. He was literally laying like flat, just straight flat in the log. Now they're finally eating the nuts. Him only now. I don't know about this bird. Verse 25. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases God. That's huge. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. That completes chapter 2. Chapter 3, a time for everything, verse 1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. Verse 5. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search, and a time to give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? Verse 10. I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. My sister Angelie actually has a mug that says that. Really nice mug. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. Verse 15. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like animals. God tests them. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. Verse 20. All go to the same place, all come from dust, and dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward, and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy the work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? That completes chapter 3. I have a decision to make. It's been an hour. I can cut the video, take a nap, or I can just press on. That hour was really hard, actually. Another hour. That's going to be kind of hard, too. I'm gonna have to keep doing air squats so I don't fall asleep. Because I don't think I'm gonna do it later. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be busy. So let's just continue. Chapter 4, Oppression, Toil, Friendliness, verse 1. Again I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressors, and they have no comforter. And I declared that the dead, who had already died, are happier than the living, who are still alive. But better than both is the one who has never been born, who has not seen the evil that is done under the sun. And I saw that all toil and all achievements spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Verse 5. Fools fold their hands and ruin themselves. Better one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Again I saw something meaningless under the sun. There was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. There was no end to his toil. Yet his eyes were not content with his wealth. For whom I am toiling, he asked, and why am I depriving myself of enjoyment? This too is meaningless, a miserable business. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. Verse 10, if either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one can be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. There's something about having 3. You get 3 people, you get 3 close friends, or I would say 2, you would be the third, and you're tight, you're in the Lord, whoo, might as well have an army. Shoot. Ah! Oh! Oh! Man. The squirrel's still there eating the nuts I threw. Yeah, he's liking it. He's like this. I threw a lot. I threw a big handful. I was like, oh man. I really don't want to continue. Just being honest, I don't. Advancement is meaningless. Verse 13. Better a poor but wise youth than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to heed a warning. The youth may have come from prison to the kingship, or he may have been born in poverty within his kingdom. Verse 15. I saw that all who lived and walked under the sun followed the youth, the king's successor. There was no end to all the people who were before them, but those who came later were not pleased with the successor. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. That completes chapter 4. I'm going to go outside and just kind of take a check around the car. That way I can get the blood, get the juices flowing. Matter of fact, I could throw some of this stuff out. I lose it all to find you now. Find you. I lose it all to find you now. Life is loud all around. Sight and sound, lost and found. Right. Back. Alright. Just think about this. Just half an hour more. And then my brain can be like, oh yeah, we're almost done. Alright, we're in chapter 5 in the book of Ecclesiastes, starting at verse 1. Fulfill your vow to God. Verse 1. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. Go near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools who do not know that they do wrong. Do not be quick with your mouth. Do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and you are on earth. Yet, so let your words be few. A dream comes when there are many cares. And many words mark the speech of a fool. Verse 4, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to fulfill it. He has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow. Verse 5, it is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin, and do not protest to the temple messenger, my vow was a mistake. Why should God be angry at what you say and destroy the work of your hands? Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, fear God. Riches are meaningless. Verse 8. If you see the poor oppressed in a district, and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such things, for one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still. The increase from the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the fields. Verse 10. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. As goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them? The sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. I have seen a grievous evil under the sun, wealth horror to the harm of its owners, or wealth lost through some misfortune, so that when they have children, there is nothing left for them to inherit. Verse 15. Everyone comes naked from their mother's womb, and as everyone comes, so they depart. They take nothing from their toil that they can carry in their hands. This too is a grievous evil. As everyone comes, so they depart, and what they do again, since they toil for the wind. All their days they eat in darkness with great frustration, affliction, and anger. This is what I have observed to be good. It is appropriate for a person to eat, to drink, and to find satisfaction in their toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot. Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions, and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift from God. Well, we have something beautiful here. Verse 20, they seldom reflect on the days of their life because God keeps them occupied with gladness of heart. That completes chapter 5. Can't help it. I'm yawning. I can't help it. What is that squirrel eating now? He's just having fun. He's just jumping. This is his playground, man. This is his home. I'm surprised. Where did all the birds and animals go? It was like a bunch earlier, but now they're just gone. I'd lose it all to find you now. To find you now. I lose it all to find you now. Life is loud all around. First time in Tampa. It's been really good. Really good. Tampa. I have not seen Tom Brady, by the way. Let's take a good, let's go 20-second nap, all right? All right, ready? Go. Chapter 6, verse 1. I have seen another evil under the sun, and it weighs heavily on mankind. God gives some people wealth, possessions, and honor, so that they lack nothing their hearts desire. But God does not grant them the ability to enjoy them, and strangers enjoy them instead. This is meaningless, a grievous evil. A man may have 100 children and live many years, yet no matter how long he lives, if he cannot enjoy his prosperity and does not receive proper burial, I say that a stillborn child is better off than he. It comes without meaning. It departs in darkness, and in darkness its name is shrouded. Verse 5. Though it never saw the sun or knew anything, it has more rest than does that man. Even if he lives 1,000 years twice over but fails to enjoy his prosperity, do not all go to the same place? Everyone's toil is for their mouth, yet their appetite is never satisfied. What advantage have the wise over fools? What do the poor gain by knowing how to conduct themselves before others? Better what the eye sees than the roving of the appetite. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Verse 10. Whatever exists has already been named, and what humanity is has been known. No one can contend with someone who is stronger. The more the words, the less the meaning. And how does that profit anyone? Wow. Verse 12. For who knows what is good for a person in life? During the few meaningless days they pass through like a shadow. Who can tell them what will happen under the sun after they are gone? That completes chapter 6. Let me go jump outside again. If you don't believe me that I'm jumping, I'll show you. Go to the back of my car, you'll see a figure that looks like me. Smells good in here. What happened? We got some rain coming in? Come on, please.
Severe weather nearby.
Oh, you're there, right? That's my car. I can... The weather map? I can click weather map? Oh, there's some rain. Up north. I can check the forecast? What? Dude, this car is really good. It's 90 degrees. Partly cloudy, chance of rain 30%. Yeah, there's heavy rain up north. Oh Lord, please send it down here. Okay. Is that guy doing pull-ups? What is that guy doing? We got our first visitor, which is parked next to me. A couple quadruple spots over. It's all good though. I'm still tired from the, like, even those air squats I did. Look at that yawning. Almost done. Let me just think. I got 20 more minutes. I said 20 more minutes. 20 more minutes. Chapter 7, verse 1. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart. Frustration is better than laughter, because a sad face is good for the heart. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of pleasure. Verse 5. It is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. Like the crackling of thorns under the pot, so is the laughter of fools. This too is meaningless. Extortion turns a wise person into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Verse 10. Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such question. I've asked that question. Wisdom is like inheritance is a good thing. Wisdom like inheritance is a good thing, and benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a shelter, as money is a shelter, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves those who have it. Consider what God has done. Who can straighten what he has made crooked? When times are good, be happy, but when times are bad, consider this: God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. Man, how true is that? It's like we think we can come up with this plan, and it's like never goes. I don't know. It's a day-by-day thing. You don't know what's in store. Verse 15. In this meaningless life of mine I have seen both of these, the righteous perishing in their righteousness, and the wicked living long in their wickedness. Do not be over righteous, neither be over wise. Why destroy yourself? That just hit me. I like that. Ecclesiastes 7:16. Do not be over righteous. Who would have thought that? I read this book before, but when you read it again, you get different insight. You get different things you didn't see before, really, or it just didn't click. It wasn't the right time, and this is the right time where this clicks with me. Do not be over righteous, neither be over wise. Why destroy yourself? Like, you're killing yourself. You're trying to do so much. You're trying to be so wise, so righteous, and do the right things, and you're killing yourself. Man. Do not be overlooked, do not be over wicked, and do not be a fool. Why die before your time? Something about being bad and dying before your time, man. It is, verse 18, it is good to grasp the one and not let go of the other. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. Wisdom makes one wise person more powerful than 10 rulers in the city. Wow. Man, the squirrel just doesn't stop moving. I keep seeing it off my peripheral vision. Verse 20. I'm gonna throw this at him. He jumped. Dang, now you jump away. Go away. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. He's looking at me. Oh my gosh, now I'm dropping something. I just spilled a little bit of my car. Trying to throw nuts in the squirrel, that's what I get. Oh. All right, verse 20. Indeed, there is no one on earth who is righteous, no one who does what is right and never sins. This is a good note to take if, like, you're religious folk, legalistic. It's like, just relax, chill out. What is that? Squirrel, get out of here. You're in my peripheral vision. Go, shoo. I want to chase you, man. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. If I can wake up, I'm going to chase you down and throw nuts at you. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Well, where's that bug at? Stop messing with my peripheral vision. Alright, we're back. Verse 21. Do not pay attention to every word people say, or you may hear your servant cursing you. It's like, you know what? There's a song that speaks a lot of truth, and it's by Neon Trees. It's an old song, and the title of it is called Everybody Talks, or Everyone Talks. Everybody talks. And like, how true is that? It's like, it talked about Jesus, and he was God. So you don't think they're going to talk about me? You don't think they're going to talk about someone else, even the people who are close to you? Like it's gonna happen. I just got to get that in my mind. And the Bible says in the book of James, no man can tame the tongue. So I should already know that, look, whatever is going to come out your mouth, I'm not going to take it offensive, because I can't control what you say, and I shouldn't get mad over what I can't control. I'm going to destroy myself. For you know in your heart that many times you yourself have cursed others. Reading this kind of makes me meh. It's like, man, like, everything's meaningless. All this I tested by wisdom, and I said, I am determined to be wise, but this was beyond me. Oh, wow. Whatever exists is far off and most profound. Who can discover it? Verse 25. So I turned my mind to understand, to investigate, and to search out wisdom and the scheme of things, and to understand the stupidity of wickedness and the madness of folly. I find more bitter than death the woman who is a snare, whose heart is a trap, and whose hands are chains. The man who pleases God will escape her, but the sinner she won't snare. Look, says the teacher, this is what I have discovered. Adding one thing to another to discover the scheme of things. While I was still searching, but not finding, I found one upright man among 1,000, but not one upright woman among them all. While I was still searching, verse 28, while I was still searching, but not finding, while I was still searching, but not finding, I found one upright man among 1,000, but not one upright woman among them all. The only thing I found, God created mankind upright, but they have gone in search of many schemes. That completes chapter 7. Chapter 8, verse 1. Who is like the wise? Who knows the explanation of things? A person's wisdom brightens their face and changes its hard appearance. Obey the king, verse 2. Obey the king's command, I say, because you took an oath before God. Do not be in a hurry to leave the king's presence. Do not stand up for a bad cause, for he will do whatever he pleases. Since the king's word is supreme, who can say to him, what are you doing? Verse 5. Whoever obeys his command will come to no harm, and the wise heart will know the proper time and procedure, for there is a proper time and procedure for every matter. Wow. Though a person may be weighed down by misery. That completes verse 6. I like that. You know, that's... Verse 7. Since no one knows the future, who can tell someone else what is to come? As no one has power over the wind to contain it, so no one has power over the time of their death. As no one is discharged in time of war, so wickedness will not release those who practice it. All this I saw as I applied my mind to everything done under the sun. There is a time when a man lords it over others to his own hurt. Verse 10. Then too I saw the wicked buried, those who used to come and go from the holy place and receive praise in the city where they did this. This too is meaningless. When the sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, people's hearts are filled with schemes to do wrong. Although a wicked person who commits 100 crimes may live a long time, I know that it will go better with those who fear God, who are reverent before him. Yet because the wicked do not fear God, it will not go well with them, and their days will not lengthen like a shadow. There is someone There is something else meaningless that occurs on earth. The righteous who get what the wicked deserve, and the wicked who get what the righteous deserve. Oh my God, yeah. This too I say is meaningless. Verse 15. So I commend the enjoyment of life, because there is nothing better for a person than under the sun than to eat and drink and be glad. Then joy will accompany them in their toil all the days of the life God has given them under the sun. When I applied my mind to know wisdom and to observe the labor that is done on earth, people getting no sleep day or night, then I saw all that God has done. No one can comprehend what God does, what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. And that completes chapter 8. Chapter 9, verse 1. Or a common destiny for all, verse 1. So I reflected on all this and concluded that the righteous and the wise and what they do are in God's hands. But no one knows whether love or hate awaits them. All share a common destiny, the righteous and the wicked, the good and the bad, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. As it is with the good, so with the sinful. As it is with those who take oaths, so with those who are afraid to take them. This is the evil in everything that happens under the sun. The same destiny overtakes all. The hearts of people, moreover, are full of evil, and there is madness in their hearts while they live, and afterward they join the dead. Anyone who is among the living has hope. Even a live dog is better off than a dead lion. Verse 5, for the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, and even their names is forgotten. Their love, their hate, and their jealousy have long since vanished. Never again will they have a part in anything that happens under the sun. Go, eat your food with gladness, and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do. Always be clothed in white, and always anoint your head with oil. Enjoy life with your wife, whom you love, all the days of this meaningless life that God has given you under the sun. All your meaningless days, for this is your lot in life and in your toilsome labor under the sun. Verse 10, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. For in the realm of the dead, where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or to the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Moreover, no one knows when their hour will come. I like that, yes. No one knows. That's why Ephesians, it says, redeem the time, because the days are evil. As fish are cut in a cruel net, or birds are taken in a snare, so people are trapped by evil times that fall unexpectedly upon them. Wisdom better than folly. Verse 13, I also saw under the sun this example of wisdom that greatly impressed me. There was once a small city with only a few people in it, and a powerful king came against it, surrounded it, and built huge siege works against it. Verse 15, now there lived in that city a man poor but wise, and he saved the city by his wisdom. But nobody remembered that poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength. But the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are no longer heeded. The squirrel's back, and he's looking at my way. He's flexing on me, just standing. He's like this, like a kangaroo. Look, please, near my peripheral. The quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded. Than the shouts of a ruler of fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. And that completes chapter 9. And you know what that means? It means to show the squirrel who's boss. He got scared. I almost did. All right, almost done, see? Now he's wagging his tail at me. It's like this. He's like, yeah, you can't touch me. Yeah, but these nuts can. I could throw them right at your face. He's like, go ahead, try it. Try it. Go ahead. Try it. I dare you. Man, he's literally, he's mocking me. He's a mocker. I'm gonna have to show you. You think I'm lying, man? See him? He's right there. Yeah, I see you. I got you on camera now. You see him right there? Go ahead, wave your tail at me again, you mocker. Yep, talking all that smack. You come down here, I'm gonna chase you again. You're in my peripheral, okay? I'm trying to do a video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Cutie pie. He just laid flat on the wood, like this my tree. Chapter 10, verse 1. As dead flies give a perfume and bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. Even as fools walk along the road, they lack sense, and show everyone how stupid they are. If a ruler's anger rises against you, do not leave your post. Calmness can lay great offenses to rest. We came back down. Verse 5. There is an evil I have seen under the sun, the sort of error that arises from a ruler. Fools are put in many high positions, while the rich occupy the low ones. I have seen slaves on horseback, while princes go on foot like slaves. Whoever digs a pit may fall into it. Whoever breaks through a wall may be bitten by a snake. Whoever quarries stones may be injured by them. Whoever splits logs may be endangered by them. Verse 10. If the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. If a snake bites before it is charmed, the charmer receives no fee. Words from the mouth of the wise are gracious, but fools are consumed by their own lips. At the beginning their words are folly, at the end they are wicked madness, and fools multiply words. No one knows what is coming. Who can tell someone else what will happen after them? Verse 15. The toil of fools wearies them. They do not know the way to town. Woe to the land whose king was a servant, and whose princes feast in the morning. We're almost done. Oh my goodness. Verse 17. Blessed is the land whose king is of noble birth, and whose princes eat at a proper time, for strength and not for drunkenness. Through laziness the rafters sag, because of idle hands the house leaks. A feast is made for laughter, wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything. Wow. Money is the answer for everything. Verse 20. Do not revile the king even in your thoughts, or curse the rich in your bedroom, because a bird in the sky may carry your words, and a bird on the wing may report what you say. What? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. That completes chapter 10. Chapter 11. Invest in many ventures. Ooh, verse 1. Ship your grain across the sea. After many days you may receive a return. Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. If clouds are full of water, they pour rain on the earth. Whether a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where it falls, there it will lie. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Verse 5. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb, so you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Remember your Creator while young. Verse 7. Light is sweet, and it pleases the eyes to see the sun. However many years anyone may live, let them enjoy them all. But let them remember the days of darkness, for there will be many. Everything to come is meaningless. You who are young, be happy while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Verse 10, so then banish anxiety from your heart and cast off the troubles of your body, for youth and vigor are meaningless. What? That completes chapter 11. Chapter 12. Verse 1, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach when you will say, I find no pleasure in them, before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark, and the clouds return after the rain, when the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men stoop, when the grinders cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows grow dim, when the doors to the street are closed, and the sound of grinding fades, when people rise up at the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint. Verse 5, when people are afraid of heights and of dangers in the streets, when the almond tree blossoms and the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire no longer is stirred, then people go to their eternal home and mourners go about the streets. Remember him before the silver cord is served and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring and the wheel broken at the wall. And the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Everything is meaningless. The conclusion of the matter, verse 9. Not only was the teacher wise, but he also imparted knowledge to the people. He pondered and searched out and set in order many proverbs. Verse 10, the teacher searched to find just the right words, and what he wrote was upright and true. The words of the wise are like goads. Their collected sayings like firmly embedded nails given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. Of making many books there is no end, and much study wearies the body. Verse 13, now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. That completes chapter 12. That completes the book of Ecclesiastes. I wonder what book is next. Oh, Song of Songs. What? We might be able to finish this book too. Oh, and then the book of Isaiah is next. Oh my goodness, I never read the full book of Isaiah. This is huge. He's a prophet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to get through this book, Song of Songs. And then that's it. Cut the video, that's it. We're done. Let's go. The book Song of Songs, verse 1, Solomon's Song of Songs. She. Verse 2, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. Pleasing is the fragrance of your perfumes. Your name is like perfume poured out. No wonder the young woman love you. Take me away with you. Let us hurry. Let the king bring me into his chambers. Friends, we rejoice and delight in you. We will praise your love more than wine. She. How right they are to adore you. Verse 5, dark am I, yet lovely, daughters of Jerusalem. Dark like the tents of Kedar, like the tent curtains of Solomon. Do not stare at me because I am dark, because I am darkened by the sun. My mother's sons were angry with me and made me take care of the vineyards. My own vineyard I had to neglect. Tell me, you whom I love, where you gaze your flock, and where you rest your sheep at midday. Why should I be like a veiled woman beside the flocks of your friends? Verse 8. If you do not know, most beautiful of women, follow the tracks of the sheep and graze your young goats by the tents of the shepherds. He, verse 9. I liken you, my darling, to a mare among Pharaoh's chariot horses. Verse 10. Your cheeks are beautiful with earrings, your neck with strings of jewels. We will make you earrings of gold, studded with silver. She, verse 12. While the king was at his table, my perfume spread its fragrance. My beloved is to me a sachet of myrrh resting between my breast. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms from the vineyards of En Gedi. He, verse 15. How beautiful you are, my darling. How beautiful. Your eyes are doves. She, verse 16. How handsome you are, my beloved. Oh, how charming. And our bed is verdant. What does verdant mean? He, verse 17. The beams of our house are cedars. Our rafters are firs. And that completes chapter 1. She, chapter 2, verse 1. I am a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. He, verse 2. Like a lily among thorns is my darling among the young women. She, verse 3. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my beloved among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. Let him lead me to the banquet hall, and let his banner over me be love. Verse 5, strengthen me with raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am faint with love. His left arm is under my head, and his right arm embraces me. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, by the gazelles and by the doves of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. Verse 10, my beloved spoke and said to me, arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. See, the winter is past, the rains are over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the season of singing has come, the cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit, the blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. He, my dove in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places on the morning side, show me your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet, and your face is lovely. Verse 15, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes, that ruin the vineyards, and our vineyards that are in bloom. She, verse 16, my beloved is mine, and I am his. He browses among the lilies until the day breaks, and the shadows flee. Turn, my beloved, and be like a gazelle, or like a young stag, on the rugged hills. That completes chapter 2. Chapter 3. Verse 1. All night long on my bed, I looked for the one my heart loves. I looked for him, but did not find him. I will get up now and go about the city. Through its streets and squares, I will search for the one my heart loves. So I looked for him, but did not find him. The watchmen found me as they made the rounds in the city. Have you seen the one my heart loves? Scarcely had I passed them when I found the one my heart loves. I held him and would not let him go, till I had brought him to my mother's house, to the room of the one who conceived me. Verse 5, daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and by the doves of the field, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Who is this coming up from the wilderness, like a column of smoke, perfumed with myrrh and incense, made from all the spices of the merchant? Look, it is Solomon's carriage, escorted by 60 warriors, the noblest of Israel, all of them wearing the sword, all experienced in battle, each with his sword at his side, prepared for the terrors of the night. King Solomon made for himself the carriage. He made it of wood from Lebanon. Verse 10. Its posts he made of silver, its base of gold. Its seat was upholstered with purple, its interior inlaid with love. Daughters of Jerusalem, come out and look, you daughters of Zion. Look on King Solomon wearing a crown, the crown with which his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding, the day his heart rejoiced. And that completes chapter 3. He, chapter 4, verse 1. How beautiful you are, my darling. Oh, how beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are doves. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from the hills of Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep just shorn, coming up from the washing. Each has its twin. Not one of them is alone. Your lips are like a scarlet ribbon. Your mouth is lovely. Your temples behind your veil are like the halves of pomegranate. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with courses of stone. On it hang 1,000 shields, all of them shields of warriors. Verse 5, your breasts are like two fawns, like twin fawns of a gazelle that browse among the lilies. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee, I will go to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of incense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. There is no flaw in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the crest of Ammana, from the top of Senir, the summit of Hermon, from the lion's dens and the mountains, or the mountain haunts of leopards. You have stolen my heart, my sister, my bride. You have stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your necklace. Verse 10, how delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. How much more pleasing is your love than wine, and the fragrance of your perfume more than any spice. Your lips drop sweetness as the honeycomb. My bride, milk and honey are under your tongue. The fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. You are a garden locked up, my sister, my bride. You are a spring enclosed, a sealed fountain. A sealed fountain. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates, with choice fruits, with henna and nard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of incense tree, with myrrh and aloes and all the finest spices. Verse 15, you are a garden fountain, a well of flowing water, streaming down from Lebanon. She, awake, north wind, and come, south wind. Blow on my garden, that its fragrance may spread everywhere. Let my beloved come into his garden and taste its choice fruits. And that completes chapter 4. Chapter 5, verse 1. I have come into my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk. Friends, eat, friends, and drink. Drink your fill of love. She, I slept, but my heart was awake. Listen, my beloved is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my darling, my dove, my flawless one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. I have taken off my robe. Must I put it on again? I have washed my feet. Must I soil them again? My beloved thrust his hand through the latch opening. My heart began to pound for him. Verse 5, I arose to open for my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with flowing myrrh on the handles of the bolt. I opened for my beloved, but my beloved had left. He was gone. My heart sank at his departure. I looked for him, but did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer. The watchmen found me, and they made the rounds in the city. They beat me, they bruised me, they took away my cloak, those watchmen of the walls. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, if you find my beloved, what will you tell them? Tell him I am faint with love. Friends, verse 9. How is your beloved better than others, most beautiful of women? How is your beloved better than others, that you so charge us? She, verse 10. My beloved is radiant and ruddy, understanding among 10,000. His head is pure as gold, his hair is wavy and black as a raven. His eyes are like doves by the water streams, washed in milk, mounted like jewels. His cheeks are like beds of spice, yielding perfume. His lips are like lilies, dripping with myrrh. His arms are rods of gold, set with topaz. His body is like polished ivory, decorated with lapis lazuli. Verse 15, his legs are pillars of marble, set on bases of pure gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as its cedars. His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. That completes chapter 5. Friends, chapter 6, verse 1. Where has your beloved gone, most beautiful of women? Which way did your beloved turn, that we may look for him with you? She, verse 2. My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spices, to browse the gardens and to gather lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He browses among the lilies. He, verse 4. You are as beautiful as Tisra, my darling, as lovely as Jerusalem, as majestic as troops with banners. Verse 5. Turn your eyes from me, they overwhelm me. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep coming up from the washing. Each has its twin, not one of them is missing. Your temples behind your veil are like the halves of a pomegranate. 60 queens there may be, and 80 concubines, and virgins beyond number. But my dove, my perfect one, is unique, the only daughter of her mother, the favorite of the one who bore her. The young woman saw her and called her blessed. The queens and concubines praised her. Friends, verse 10. Who is that? Who is this that appears like the dawn, fair as the moon, bright as the sun, majestic as the stars in procession? He, verse 11. I found you. Look at. He came back. Verse 11. I went down to the grove of nut trees to look at the new growth in the valley, to see if the vines had budded or the pomegranates were in bloom. Excuse me. Before I realized it, my desire set among the royal chariots of my people. Friends, come back, come back. O Shulamite, come back, that we may gaze on you. He, why would you gaze on the Shemonite, as on the dance of Mahanaim? Back up, it's chapter 6, chapter 7. Verse 1, how beautiful your sandaled feet, O prince's daughter. Your graceful legs are like jewels, the work of an artist's hands. Your navel is a rounded goblet that never lacks blended wine. Your waist is a mound of wheat encircled by lilies. Your breasts are like two fawns of a gazelle. Your neck is like an ivory tower. Your eyes are the pools of Heshbon, by the gate of Bath Rabbim. Your nose is like the tower of Lebanon, looking toward Damascus. Verse 5, your head crowns you like Mount Carmel. Your hair is like royal tapestry. The king is held captive by its tresses. How beautiful you are, and how pleasing. My love, with your delights. Your statue is like that of the palm, and your breasts like clusters of fruit. I said, I will climb the palm tree. I will take hold of its fruit. May your breasts be like clusters of grapes on the vine, the fragrance of your breath like apples, and your mouth like the best wine. She. May the wine go straight to my beloved, flowing gently over lips and teeth. Verse 10, I belong to my beloved, and his desire is for me. Come, my beloved, let us go to the countryside. Let us spend the night in the villages. Let us go early in the vineyards to see if the vines have budded, and their blossoms have opened, and if the pomegranates are in bloom. There I will give you my love. The mandrakes send out their fragrance. Look at our door. Look, and at our door is every delicacy, both new and old, that I have stored up for you, my beloved. And that completes chapter 7. Last chapter, chapter 8. Come on, throat. We're almost done. Verse 1. If only you were to me like a brother, who were nursed at my mother's breast. Then if I found you outside, I would kiss you, and no one would despise you. I would lead you and bring you to my mother's house. She who has taught me, I will give you spiced wine to drink, the nectar of my pomegranates. His left arm is under my head, and his right arm embraces me. Daughter Jerusalem, I charge you, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Come on, throat. Friends, verse 5, who is the coming up from the wilderness, leaning on her beloved? She. Under the apple tree I roused you. There your mother conceived you. There she who was in labor gave you birth. Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death, its jealousy unyielding as the grave. It burns like blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Mighty waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned. Friends, verse 8. We have a little sister, and her breasts are not yet grown. What shall we do for our sister on the day she is spoken for? If she is a wall, we will build towers of silver on her. If she is a door, we will enclose her with panels of cedar. She, verse 10. I am a wall, and my breasts are like towers. Thus I have become in his eyes like one bringing contentment. Solomon had a vineyard in Baal Hamon. He let out his vineyard to tenants. Each was to bring for its fruits 1,000 shekels of silver. But my own vineyard is mine to give. The 1,000 shekels are for you, Solomon, and 200 are for those who tend its fruit. He, verse 13. You who dwell in the gardens with friends and attendants, let me hear your voice. She, verse 14. Come away, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or like a young stag on the spice-laden mountains. And that completes chapter 8. And that completes the Song of Songs, or Songs of Solomon. And what's next? The book of Isaiah. Woo! It's getting deeper. It's getting deeper. I'm getting to the books I haven't really touched yet. Let's go. Well, I'm glad that it's just over 2 hours and we got done with Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. Praise God.